Platform is an environment where, everyone has a sense of belonging, not just belonging, but a sense of ownership. It's a place where you know that you can be yourself without any form of prejudice, and
Abraham Ibrahim Jr. is a visionary leader.
I know it's not easy to take out time to be here today. I believe we all have one thing or the other, doing at home, but preferably you watch your Netflix, all right? Or you sleep, all right? Even if you have nothing, you don't do, you are going to work. But for you to make it here today is a sacrifice. And I want us to know that being here today is intentional. And not so many people that we've invited will show up. That shows that for you to be here today, that shows that there's something inside of you that's connected to what you're looking for. We live in an information world. We live in a VUCA world today. And the world is driven by information. What makes you different from Elon Musk? What makes you different from Elon Musk today? Can somebody tell me? Huh? Information is richer than me. Knowledge. Well, he's from South Africa. Yeah, originally. Yeah, see, color doesn't matter. Yeah, I think we all got it. It's not me. Yeah, when I read in brief history, how many of us have read about Elon Musk? We've been hearing about him. Have we all have political sentiments, all right? Let's forget about that. When I read about him, he's not really, he didn't start off really good, but he started with programming, he started selling games programming. He has been set up for greatness because of what? Information. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome our founder, Mr. Working and Mr. Abraham, Mr. Kulejo Komalafe and Mr. Abraham, all the way from the United States of America. Please sit down. You're welcome, sir. All right, back to what I was sharing before. Information. We live in an information world. We live in an uncertain world. Nobody can predict what will happen in the next 10 minutes. Before COVID-19 came, hello, are we together? Before COVID-19 came, do you know some people actually predicted it? If you are familiar with the news, even post-COVID, let me give you an instance. Southwest Airline predicted something like that, and they were able to reserve some aviation fuel. They invested in aviation fuel. That we live in a volatile world, anything can happen, a disruption could happen at any time. So some people saw it as a crazy idea, but Southwest Airline invested in aviation oil, and 10 years down the line, COVID-19 struck. While other airlines were packing up, Southwest Airline was acquiring more fleet. We live in an information world. So I want us to be prepared today. So much resources have been put in place for this summit to come to reality today. So much effort. Please, if you see anybody in white, they are volunteers. They are not being paid, but some travel all the way from Newcastle, all the way from around the UK to be here today. Please, let's appreciate them and let's open our mind today to receive. So much is being packaged together, all the way from United States of America and United Kingdom, for us to be a particle of this glorious event. Please and please, don't just be, don't be a kind of person that is just observing what's going on, what's happening. Please, let's be conversant with what is going on. Let's be conversant with what is going on. You'll be distracted by your phone. If you want to do yourself a favor, put that phone on silent, on distraction, and take what belongs to you today. Please, I'm a product of this platform for more than 10 years now, and my life has never remained the same. With the sacrifices, with effort and information that will be given out today, please and please, I beg of you, do not let anything pass you by. There will be an interactive section. There will be, anything that is being said on this platform today, please take note of them. If you don't have a notepad, there will be a notepad available. There will be a notepad available. Okay. Yeah, okay, very good. Thank you very much. So it's high time we just do something briefly as our culture at the Center for Real Impact. Let's bingo. Just talk to somebody beside you, ask for their name. Not people you came with. Not people you came with, no, it's just to network. Because one of our foundation here is to network. Because what I have, you may not have it. What you have, I may not have it. So we live in an information world. If I know you, you're a graphics designer, you're a software developer, and I'm looking forward to going there, I can easily connect with you. And one of the best places to meet with people is something such as this. Because ordinarily, I won't just have access to Mr. Abraham. Ordinarily, I won't just bump into Dr. Jennifer. Ordinarily, I won't just have access to EJK and Miss Siri. I won't just have access to them. But a platform such as this has brought people we always see up and high closer to us today. Please, let's take advantage of that. So, back to Mingo. Talk to us. Some people don't be bothered, don't be distracted about, people are still on their way. And I know it's a bit trickish. People driving, they find it a bit difficult to navigate to their ways here. So let's just leave it in 2 minutes. Just talk to somebody you've not met before. If you are single, say it, or if you are married, say it also. We have the program with you. I'll do it back from next now. That was our idea before. Huh? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. So, some of our programs will be cut in between because we are really behind the time. So please pardon us and just flow with us. Thank you. Okay.
The real platform is an environment where everyone has a sense of belonging, not just belonging, but a sense of ownership. It's a place where you know that you can be yourself without any form of prejudice. And at every stage or every phase in life, regardless of challenges you're going through, the platform is always there to support you, to see you through. Of course, there are organizations that are membership based, that when you belong to, they identify with you when things are very good or you are going through the best of times. But the real platform is distinct in the sense of in season, out of season, they are good and they are always there for you.
There's this adage that says that 20 children can play together for 20 years, but for us in Real Platform, the bonding has kept us, we are 20 years this year, and the bonding has kept us together for 20 years. So it's quite phenomenal for us. Now, even when we have members who have left the country, they still come into this family and we still thriving. So for me, that is phenomenal.
We all want to feel this sense of belonging when you've come to have this conviction, personal conviction, while identifying or coming in contact with what makes you feel among, or you feel your personal values have aligned with what you have actually been looking for. So for the first time, my encounter with this very platform has indeed made me to see certain traits which my own personal values have come to align with. So for me, that was key. I felt this is where I belong at an instant, because already that was a personal thing, a trait that was already in me.
One of the major things that actually convinced me about the organization is the fact that they talk the talk and they do the do, in the sense that they do what they say they are going to do. If you notice, most organizations that start, they tend to change their principle and stuff like that. But being with the organization from 2019, what they say, regardless of the situation, is what they always do. So that is why I kind of stick with them. For somebody that can stand the test of time and do what they actually say they are going to do, is worth being with.
Okay, the Real Platform has really helped me to fulfill my potential, both professionally and personally. Like, I get the push, the encouragement, and the diligence and consistency in my business and career. is a platform that has helped me because it's an educative platform and it has educated me in so many ways. I've been able to actualize my dream. I'm on the way to achieving all my dreams and goals because of the Real platform. Real platform is very consistent in checking on her members, checking in to see how you're doing when they don't hear from you for a while. So when I first joined, I wasn't consistent, but then they kept calling, how you doing, what's going on, we've not seen you in a while, and that made me feel like this is an organization I want to be part of.
I'm a very creative person, and so the Real platform has helped me to be able to process my thought pattern.
Wow, Real platform is a home, is a real tribe.
At the Center for Real Impact, what always stands out for me at every of our events is our content and our style of delivery. Little wonder they say content is king. At the Center for Real Impact, we have got the content.
I met KJK sometimes last year through business. And before meeting him, I heard a lot of amazing things about him. But meeting him in person, he's so amazing. He's a blessing. He's a man of honor, a man of integrity, a visionary leader, right? Because it takes a visionary leader to reckon with you based on who you are becoming and not based on who you are at the present.
Has provided me with leadership opportunities and knowledge-driven information that's enabled me to explore my potential. I've been able to practicalize most of the things I learn in my business and my personal life. So I can say professional and personal development has spurred since I joined the Center for Real Impact, the Real platform.
I would say I like the fact that we have the system or the structure for accountability and feedback. Several times, for instance, Dorothy called me to ask me questions about my goal, how far I've been able to achieve them and all of that. So it's really it's like a family thing. Also, I realized that there is this a form of get together where members come together and network.
Can say without any doubt that the Center for Real Impact stands out when it comes to consistency. There's been a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of hurdles, in the course of this journey. But the rugged nature of our founder and our international director, has kept the pace going. And today, this is where we are. So if you ask me, I would say it's consistency. Consistency stands out. We also have content, if I'm to add to it, which I'm sure most people must have said. Our content is also something that I would not want to belabor that. But for me, number one is consistency, and that is that's our signature, consistency, yes.
Dr. Jennifer Grace completed her PhD at the University of Birmingham, UK, where she focused on mental health and early intervention psychosis. Her research was conducted in partnership with the Prince's Trust, Birmingham Local Authority, and the Collaboration in Leadership for Applied Health Research. To further her expertise, she studied at the University of Cambridge, specializing in psychotherapy.
But essentially, we're going to be talking about survive, resetting, and thriving. I'm just going to be giving you a little bit of an idea, a bit of an introduction, and I believe the best is yet to come with our other speakers. Can we just give a round of applause for KJK, Abraham, and Stevie that are here? I can't believe they came all the way from the States to be here, and we really appreciate your presence, and they're awesome. They're awesome speakers, and it's really a privilege to be here. So the first thing that I'll just share is this quote. It says, survival is supposed to be a temporary state, not a lifestyle. And when we think about surviving and resetting and thriving, there's this whole identity, particularly in the Black community, where it's like, we've got to survive, we've got to work hard, we've got to hustle, we've got to, all this kind of thing, we've got to japa, all the stuff, yeah? You've got all this kind of mindset, and it's great for a time. But I think the difficulty is people turn it into a lifestyle. Yeah. And it just becomes this aggression and this constant fighting with life to get your way. And that's not how it ought to be. When we think about survival, it's a short-term instinct. If you look at science, evolution, if you look at how biologically we respond, adrenaline, cortisol, this is so that we can live, so that we can survive, but it's not supposed to be prolonged. That prolonged stress is actually very, very debilitating to our bodies, to our mindset, to our mental health. Do you agree? So it's not about, oh my gosh, I have to work hard, I have to keep, no. We have to find a way to bring about balance, and we have to change that identity of struggle for an identity of ease. Say ease. Ease. Life is easy. My life is easy. Sorry, this is going to feel like therapy. You heard my background, psychology. But life should be with ease. Yes, there are moments you're going to have to fight and do things, but it's for a time. It's for a time. So that's the first thing I want you to know. It should not be prolonged. Okay, and I know when I think about my parents, the certain generations, it's almost like they built their whole life on hardship and struggle. And sometimes that's the identity they pass on to their children. And we just carry on. But we have to break that. We have to reset. Okay, we have to evolve. Okay, moving on from that. So that's to just kind of give you a bit of an introduction and a bit of an idea. But when we think about surviving, thriving, what does that mean? So if we look at the third section, we've got extinction. And that's where we're not able to survive, we're not able to cope, we're not able to do what we need to do. And somehow we start to go backwards instead of forward. And this is an extinction of our dreams, our hopes, our potential. And we start to lose those things. And then the survival, where you're working hard, you're trying to get things done. But to move out of that, how do we move out of that struggle mindset, that survival, that constant trying? We have to evolve. Evolve what? Our mindsets, our decision making, our actions, our thoughts. And I'll expand on this a little bit later. You have to evolve. You have to change the mindset. And then we move on to thrive. But before I explain that a little bit further, who knows who's on the screen? Does anyone know who that's a portrait of? If you've got good eyes, you might see it at the bottom. Well done, Charles Darwin. Round of applause for him. Charles Darwin, a very well-known biologist. And he came up with a theory of evolution and how things adapt and evolve and species change. And he has this quote, it says, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. The one most responsive to change. Now, for those of us that are not so strong, don't feel so intelligent, don't feel so talented, this is good news. Because it doesn't mean you have to have all these great accolades to thrive. Are you with me? No, to thrive, you need to just be responsive. What does responsive mean? When you're in an environment, something happens, how do you respond to what's happening? In order to thrive, you must be able to adapt. You must be able to adapt your decisions, your behavior, your choices, your ideas to suit the environment that you're in. That is the indication of being able to thrive. So, we have here, when there's an idea of extinction, that's when we go backwards. That's a regression of our goals, our dreams, our hopes, what we want to do. Survival is when we're responsive. We want to respond to, okay, what's going on? I need to respond. I need to do hard work. I need to make a change. Okay? When we're evolving, we're becoming more adaptive. We're adapting. We're flexible. We're looking at something more that we need to do to move forward. And when we think about thriving, it's about being progressive. And I'll explain this a bit more as we proceed. Okay? So when I say progressive, I mean it has to be a consistent momentum to moving forward. A consistent progress is what enables us to thrive. Are you following me? Am I lecturing you? Yeah? It's really important for us to understand these things because I'm trying to get you to see how do we come out of that identity of survival and struggle. There has to be a period where we're able to change. And that change to thrive has to be consistent and progressive. Okay? So how then do we thrive? How then do we thrive? Well, evolving towards progressive change and choices. That's thriving. That's thriving. Mastering your environment. You have to learn. You have to learn. You have to read. You have to update your data. You have to, because life is changing constantly. You can't just assume that the knowledge you had 10 years ago is still relevant. You can't just assume that friends can give you all the information you need. You have to expand your horizon. Learn new things, learn a language, see a new culture, see new ideas. You can't just be stagnant in your learning. And unfortunately, we find that there's a lot of people that feel like once they've left school, they've done everything. I've graduated, I've left school, there's nothing more for me to do. That's the worst thing you can do. You need to become a student of life. You need to read. You need to understand. Okay? You need to learn your environment. How many of you know about the pestle analysis? Anyone heard of it? It's super popular. Yeah, the pestle analysis. So when we're talking about mastering your environment, what is going on where you are? What is going on in the UK right now? Who knows? What's going on in the UK? What happened? That's one way of putting it, yes. But specifically, what's going on politically, legally, economically, socially? They're in categories. Technologically, what's going on? You know, you've got to understand what's going on in the environment. Legally, what's going on? Ethically, what's going on? Because when you master the environment, you can then make a decision as to what you're going to do. You can then adapt, you can then evolve, you can then change. The worst thing you can do is be inflexible. This is how I am. I hear that a lot from people. This is how I am. That's not how to thrive. You must be flexible. The dangerous personality is an inflexible one. You have to be able to change. You have to be able to receive new data and information and remove your pride and change. A hindrance to adapting is pride. A hindrance to making that evolution is pride. But you have to be able to change and say, okay, I could do this better. I could make an improvement here. Change your perspective. How you interpret things is very important. If you want to thrive, if you want to evolve, change how you interpret things. Change your mindset, how you think about things. Extremely important for you to be able to thrive. Because if you don't know the right perspective, you're probably not going to be able to interpret success properly. You're going to be interpreting it the way other people are interpreting it. But you have to understand what that means to you. Move strategically. So how do you interact with your environment? Don't just do things. Do them for a reason. Have an intention behind them. Have a strategy involved behind them. Okay, does that make sense? Let everything follow a particular strategy. And it's funny, my sister worked with Amazon, and they have some particular strategies which I really like and I utilize. So the first strategy they've got is something to do with bias. Can you remind me? Bias fraction, right? That's the strategy, bias fraction. And what that means is, no matter what, if they need to do something to respond quickly to the market because it's constantly changing, they'll just do it. They won't do too much research. They won't spend too much time trying to make sure it's going to work out. They'll just act. They move in action. They say, right, this is changing in the system. This is changing. Right, we're going to do this. So it's almost like a fail-fast mentality. And then the other one they have is customer obsession, where the customer is first. They need to please the customer. They want to make sure the customer is pleased at all time. The customer is happy. And we all use Amazon, right? Are we all reasonably happy with the service? And if we're not, they do their best to kind of make sure you're happy, right? Do you notice? Like, I've lost so many packages, I don't even care anymore because I know they'll just refund it. True. Yeah? True. That's intentional. That's strategic. It's not by accident. Because they know that if they get the trust of the customer, that customer will be loyal to them. And that company will thrive. And as we can see, it's thriving. Okay? So it's really important for us to learn to move in strategy. Okay, so survival versus thriving. Really important that you know the difference. So I want to say this. When we talk about thriving is not about things. Can you repeat that? Thriving is not about things. It's about how you think. It's not about cars. It's not about houses. It's not about how to acquire. That's not necessarily thriving, because if it was, we would know the wealthy people would be so fine, and we know that they are so not. Right? So it's not about things. It's not about materialism. The materialistic culture is actually very destructive. Those are not the things that actually soothe the mind, the soul, and fulfill you. Okay? So when we're talking about thriving, don't think about things. That will come if you have the right foundation. Okay? So when we're talking about thriving, survival mode, that's the first thing. You're thinking about safety and comfort because you want to survive. It's all about safety. I want to be safe. I want to be comfortable. That's all you think about. My family, myself, can I eat, can I drink? You're in survival mode. Competition. What's this person doing? Why is this person doing that? Why am I not getting what this person? This person got a promotion. What about me? Survival mode. When you feel stuck, you can't really move forward, then you start to regress. We talked about extinction of your dreams and ideas. Exhaustion, feeling stressed, because we talked about stress levels and cortisol, that when you're in a prolonged survival mode, it starts to affect your health. Thinking of the now. You're constantly thinking of the present. I need this now. You don't plan for the future. You don't. How many of us have savings here? Oh, a few of us. Good. What did you say? Okay, even if you've maxed it out, there's still hope for you. There's still hope. There's still hope. But definitely, sometimes when we're thinking for the now, we're not planning for the future. And that really hinders any ability to thrive and just repeats the cycle of struggle. But we'll go into that. Self. We're focused on self. What do I need? What do I want? Fear. Fear of taking risks. Risk averse. Because you want to survive, so it's not really the time to take risks. Like you said, if your savings are maxed out, you're not going to be thinking about taking risks. You're going to be thinking about safety and security. But what I want you to understand is that's a cycle that stops you from moving forward and evolving into a place where you could thrive. Acquiring. Getting lots of things. Consumerism. Survival mode. Inward. You think inward. Think things are impossible. Survival mode. Being fake, not your real authentic self. chasing and following others, following the culture, following status quo. I mean, that's one thing I can say. I don't follow anything. Culture, tradition, I do me. I don't follow what it looks like, what people think. I've grown, I've evolved beyond that. So if you're people pleasing, if you're worried about, oh, my parents want me to do it, you have to grow to a point where you lead your life, you lead your decisions. You don't follow or chase. Are you following me? Okay, hardship, survival mode, it's difficult. It's hard. It's not moving with ease, if you remember when I said ease. Okay? On the contrary, when we look at thriving, service and strategic change. If you're in survival mode, you're not thinking, how can I serve others? How can I bring forth change? How can I help my community? No, you're thinking, how can I help myself? And that's probably why we have a lot of problems in certain situations, even in Africa, because it's a very weak survival system and infrastructure. But you've got to come out of that and say, actually, what about the community? What about the service? What about the country? What about other people? That is when you're thriving. When I look back, I mean, when I was watching that video, I mean, I forget some of the things I've done, to be honest. But when I was watching that video, I was like, okay, some of the things that I did or got involved in, it's not because I wanted to or I liked it per se. It's not even because it favored me dramatically, but it's because I wanted to lend a service to the community in one way or another. And that's how I found fulfillment in helping others. Thriving is when your life goes beyond you. Yeah. Even what we're doing today. I just told you the speakers, KJK, Abraham, they came from America to be here. And there's some people in this same city that know about it that won't be here. Why? Because they're in survival mode, me mode. I need to go and do my hair today. I need to go and do, it's always I. That's not how we thrive. It doesn't satisfy. Eventually you will find out. People think thriving is more money, but actually the moment you have more, you realize it's not really anything. What you need is service to others. Creativity. When you're not in struggle mode, you can be creative. Oh, this is an amazing idea. Let's do a summit. Let's give speakers. Let's do this. Let me help in the media. We can be creative. Let me start businesses. Entrepreneurship. Let me take risks. Let me invest in myself or even someone else, in my community. Does that make sense? We are patient when we thrive because we're moving with ease, not with hurry, force, fear. Do you see the difference? When we thrive, we think ahead. We think ahead. And I always use this example. I remember I was going to a church, there's a church that I go to, and I usually do a lot of youth meetings and I advise youth, I talk to young people, and there was one particular young person that came and she was telling us about how she got VIP passes to the Taylor Swift concert. And she had all these VIP tickets and she could invite friends and have food and all this kind of things. And I was thinking, how on earth did you afford that? And she was like, oh, my granddad bought it for me. And I said, oh, really? Oh, wow. Isn't he retired? Like, why would you be, like, using your granddad like that? And she was like, my granddad owns Terminal 2 in London. I said, I almost fell off the chair. Because I was like, so you can own the terminal? People are still trying to own Mercedes and houses, and other people are owning terminals. I was like, wow, there are levels. I was like, Jesus, I've not even started. Yeah. I was like, wow. Yeah. And also, there's also a quote, I think it's in Proverbs, it says something like, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Not just his children, his children's children. And I thought to myself, what kind of mindset did that grandfather have to think it was a good idea to buy a terminal? Do you know what I mean? Because it's not something that you're buying for yourself for the now to enjoy. That is generational wealth. That is thinking ahead, not just thinking about the now. Sacrifice. He probably made some sacrifices to be able to do that. Taking risks. But one thing I won't go through the full list, but a few things that I'll pick out there is when we're thriving, always remember it's to carry others. It's to carry others. It's not just for yourself. If you look at a tree, a fruit tree, and you see apples coming out of a tree, has anyone ever seen a fruit tree? Where you see apples, pears, avocados. Can that tree enjoy that fruit? No. Can the tree eat its own fruit? No. So, but you can look at it and say, wow, that tree is thriving, because look at the beautiful fruits. The fruits are not for it. But in fact, it doesn't need the fruit, right? So, in other words, in your own life, when you're bearing fruit, when you're doing good things, achievements, whatever it might be, understand it is to carry others. That is the purpose. So, I don't know how much time I've got. I don't know who's watching time. But I'll just conclude with this slide. If there's 3 things you remember this. Survival is not the goal. Can you all repeat after me? Survival is not the goal. Yeah? It's not just to breathe, it's not just to wake up, it's not just to go to work and come back. That's not what you're here for. You're here to know thyself. Know yourself. Know who you are. Know what you're good at. Know what you're not good at. Know what your strengths are. And only then can you be of service to others. It's not to know what your strengths are to enrich yourself, but it's to actually be useful and helpful to others. Okay? So a fish on land is pretty useless. It can't stand. A lion in the ocean, can he do very much? Is he that scary in water? In fact, I remember when I went on holiday, I went scuba diving in Thailand. Now, I know how to swim in my head. But swimming in a pool and swimming in the ocean, I just realized are 2 different things. Yep. And I was so like, yeah, I can do this. I had my scuba mask on, had my suit, I was ready, and I jumped off this boat into the ocean, and I was literally flapping around like a frog, jumping, I almost drowned. Everyone was looking at me like, who's this crazy person? I was literally flapping, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm drowning, I'm sinking, and I was floating away. And the guy was like, I thought she could swim, and I was like, I can, though, I can. And I was literally swifting away, floating away. And the lifeguard came and jumped in and, obviously helped me and pulled me back to the boat. But it's like, that's one thing also to note. If you are in a state of survival, you need help. You need helpers. Good helpers, not anyhow. Ones that stand by you, not ones that walk away from you. Okay? So, essentially, I was swimming, really going through the motions, struggling, and the lifeguard comes, says, pulls me to the boat, and then he's like, actually, I want you to have a good experience, so let me show you. So he kind of tied me to himself, which very embarrassing, but they have a rope and they tie you. Wow. And to be fair, there were also 10-year-olds there, 12-year-olds, and they were just swimming, they were like dolphins, and I was just like, ew. That was really a humbling experience. But yeah, he tied me next to him, and then we went through the ocean, and I saw the corals and the turtles and all the fish, and the whole world down there, and it was awesome. But it's really important, I say that to say it's really important to know thyself. Know your capabilities, know what you can do, what you can't do, and when you need help, know that you need help. There's no pride in this thing.
Yeah, please say it again.
There's no pride. You have to be humble. It doesn't matter where you are.
Speak out.
Bring yourself down, because there's always something you can learn.
Yeah.
Know thyself. Yeah. A big casualty I find with young people is they don't know themselves. They know themselves through the eyes of their parents, their culture. I mean, I experienced this. I know my mom is a pastor in the church, and everyone's like, you're a pastor, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm running the other way. But know thyself, because otherwise, other people's expectations of you is what will control your life.
Yeah.
But when you know yourself, your own choices, you can make your own choices, and you can control, and you can say yes to this and no to this. And that is thriving. That is thriving, friends, when you can be your authentic self. Then you can be useful to other people, and you can impact future generations. Thank you so much. I'll leave it there.
All right. Can we get the mic on this one? Thank you. We're going to take questions very quickly. How you all doing, though? Awesome. Good to see you again. All right. We're going to take questions very quickly, and then we'll get the next speaker off. Do you have any questions for Dr. Jennifer? Awesome presentation. Let's put our hands together one more time for her. The story about the lifeguard, you know, that was funny. And that reminds me of the story of a man who, a lawyer in the city, let's say Leeds, for example, a young lawyer and an older lawyer. I don't know if you've had that story before, where the younger lawyer had all the qualifications like you all do have, master's, PhD, and all of that in law. But then he found out that when people have cases, they go to the other lawyer. So this other lawyer gets overbooked every month. Meanwhile, the younger lawyer who has all the qualifications don't even have anyone coming, you know, to his law firm, right? So one day he woke up and he told himself, he was like, I need to go ask this man what he does and how he does it such that he gets a lot of clients coming to his firm. And then he went there one morning, spoke with the man, and then the man said, I'll call you in the next few days for a chat. And then, of course, a few days came by, and then the young lawyer went to see this man after he called. And he said, come, let's take a walk. And then he held his hands, and they were walking across the city, across the road and everywhere. And then he was like, aren't you going to tell me something? Tell me the secret. And he was like, no, let's just keep walking. We walked for a few minutes. Sir, you haven't said anything to me. So let's keep walking. And then when they were done, walked back again. And I was like, that's it. We're like, that's it? He says, that's it. I said, but you didn't tell me anything. I said, no, you'll be fine. The next day, literally, this younger lawyer's firm was full. Everybody wanted him to take up a case for them. What happened? Come on now, guys, what happened? Association, relationship, connection, just to buttress what she said. I want us to just appreciate it to Jennifer one more time. And thank you for coming all the way to the US for our summits in America. We are grateful. And we're back here again to do the same thing. Let's get it together for one more time. Awesome. Are we good now, guys? No questions for Dr. Jennifer? All right, we're going to take more questions when we have interactive sessions, okay? Thank you.
Tiwonga Gondwe, or Yabada, known by most people as Tiwi, is a third culture kid, which means when people ask me where I am from, it is never a straightforward answer. When asked about her life's work, she sums it up by this phrase: bridging the gap between development and creativity. Tiwi is a logical creative, a storyteller, and a thinker. She founded Tiwi Gondwe Consulting in 2018. She has been on music videos as an image consultant and also worked with well-renowned Swati fashion designer Jerome Paul on his first lifestyle presentation and as a creative director on a project with Nomi Studios, a Swati fashion brand. Tiwi Gondwi Consulting started out as an image consulting and styling consultancy and have since pivoted to business advice and support in 2019. They have worked with creative and social enterprises such as Baobab Batik, Mongi Botanicals, and many more. The support provided has ranged from brand development, marketing strategies, and dealing with business finances. Tiwi Gondwi Consulting has evolved to working with startups and SMEs to get started in business or with business growth strategies. They offer business planning, strategy, and financial forecasting support, and also deliver training on how to start a business covering topics such as marketing, business finances, legalities, business planning, and selling. Dala Spaces. Tiwi is a co-founder and part owner of a flagship store and business accelerator in Eswatini. They provide a physical space for creative businesses to trade and have visibility. Currently, with over 54 brands in their shop. They have also worked as consultants with big events such as the MTN Bushfire Festival, the Standard Bank Luju Food and Lifestyle Festival. Dala Spaces is more than a concept store. They are a leading voice in the creative industry in Eswatini. They have successfully run an accelerator program for small businesses in Eswatini. For the last 3 years, Tiwi have been working on the King's Trust Enterprise Program to help young people aged 18 to 30 start sustainable and viable businesses. She owns Mavericks fashion brands. Mavericks, which is a leading vintage brand based in Eswatini. And Tiwi's Closet is also a vintage clothing brand in the UK. She is married, and in her spare time, you will find her thrifting, reading, and uploading things on her Vinted and Depop. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm round of applause, let's welcome to the UK Real Impact Summit Tiwi.
6 years. And in those 6 years, I worked as an educator in a high school. I worked with NGOs. I started my business, Mavericks. And I used to do pop-ups that didn't exist in my home country. People didn't know what that was. They didn't know what vintage fashion was. And that doesn't make sense. But I believed in myself. I didn't know what a business plan was. I just went for it. And that is what led me to where I am today. So that small dream, me starting Mavericks, I was so consistent with it. I built a whole sustainable industry in my home country. I can proudly say I'm the pioneer of that type of business in my home country. But why that was important was because I was so consistent with Mavericks. My business partner, whose family own like massive amounts of land, saw my potential, and she said, let's partner up together and start Dallas Spaces. So it is an accelerator program. We actually just wrapped up. We got funding from the International Trade Center to deliver a course on entrepreneurship. And I'm the one who was writing and delivering that with my business partner. And we've just done that with 10 craft brands and 10 craft and food brands this month. But because I started so small and I was faithful to my passion, which was just selling vintage clothing and styling people, that opened a door for me to work with Dallas Spaces. And when I coincidentally moved back to the UK, me owning Dallas Spaces is what helped me get my job with the King's Trust, because they said, you have business knowledge. And that was the second job I applied for, mind you. And they said, come. And I've been there ever since. I've been there helping small businesses in Leeds or in Yorkshire and the Humberside start and doing these courses, growing my knowledge gap. And if you bring a business plan to me now, I can tell you your business will work or not, because I do that all the time and helping people access funding. So this is what I want to talk to you about today. Have you ever thought about turning your passion into a business? So has anyone ever thought about turning their passion into a business? Hands up. Anybody? Yes. So what stopped you? Money? Funding? Why? Why? I want you to keep that in mind. Environment. Okay. Okay. So as Dr. Jennifer said, in the world that we live in, there is a lot of uncertainty. Now, we all have jobs here, I presume, but does your job give you enough money to do what you need to do in your life? Okay? So I'm here to talk to you not only about starting a business, but if you are new to starting a business, think about starting that business alongside your job. That is probably the best advice I could give you as an advisor. Start small, where you are with what you have. Yeah. Okay? So things to think about. Is there a problem that you can solve? When you start your business, that is the thing that you need to know. The first thing I always ask people as an advisor is, what are you selling? If you can't tell me what you're selling and how much you're selling it for, you don't have a business. You still have an idea. You need to be able to simplify, this is what I'm selling, this is how much, and then we can start building the rest of the picture of that business. Okay? So think about something that you are good at that you can monetize. So not every business has to be a massive conglomerate. Something small can make a difference. It does not have to be the next Amazon or the next ASOS. It really can be, I have something that I'm good at. I'm good at organizing. Let me go and help people organize their homes. That is a business, and that is something a lot of people struggle with. Even something as small as providing ironing services, you'd be very shocked. Some people don't want to iron their clothes, what they don't in this country, like ironing. So that is, I'm telling you, people, this was 10 years ago, people were ready to pay £15 an hour for you to iron their clothes. You go collect their clothes, they'll pay. That is still a business. That is a problem you are solving. Okay? Things to think about before starting a business. So the thing is, a lot of us have an idea and we jump in. We don't ask ourselves questions. And I think that's very important. So the first and most important thing, what is my motivation for starting that business? Why? Your why is extremely important, because if you do not know your why, when things do go south, when things get hard, you will not stick to it. When you've made £2 at a pop-up, which has happened to me, where I made £2 over couples of months, if I was not passionate about that, would I have stuck at it? No, I would have stopped. And that's what a lot of people do. So you need to know your motivation and be honest about it. If your motivation is money, then I'm here to tell you that you probably will give up. So that's why you need to explore, why am I doing this? What problem am I solving? Is this something I'm passionate about? Is this something I'm good at? Is this something that people tell me I'm naturally good at and I can help others? Because that will be your driving force. Even if you go have an amazing business plan, when you come to somebody like me, I'm the first hurdle. I'll say why. If you can't answer why, some people won't invest in you. When investors look at you, they're not buying into your idea. I spoke to an investor and he said, when I meet you, I'm investing in the person. I'm not investing in the idea at that point.
Wow.
I'm investing in you. So I'm looking at you, what you're saying, what you are about. I'm not investing in your big idea. I'm investing in the people and the person behind it. So how are you planning on running your business? Is it part-time or full-time? The first piece of advice, and this is from experience, do not go into a business with no money. So some people say, I will jump in with everything, but you don't know how you're going to cover your personal survival budget monthly. What will happen is, if you do that and you jump in with your all, when you can't cover your basic needs, what is going to happen? You will start doing things from a survival mode. You will take anything. People will come and tell you, you know your service is £500, but because you're so desperate for a client and that £100 will help you with food or something, you will take it because you need it. So sometimes it's better to start part-time while your full-time job covers your daily expenses. It's in fact good to get to the point where at least you have enough savings to cover your personal survival budget, or what we call a PSB, until the time that your business can cover all your expenses. And then you are also going to think about what you have to put in place to run your business. So if you're running it part-time, if you're running it full-time, what will that look like? What will that look like? What will your day look like as a business owner? Do you have to save maybe £20,000 to cover your personal costs in case something goes wrong? You need to know this information. What do I need to put in place before running my business? Then trial and test your business. Don't go and say, I have an idea. This is what I say all the time. I have an idea. I want to sell dresses. Okay, I bought the dresses. Wow. Okay, you just spent £10,000 and you don't even know who your customer is. Who's your customer? Everyone. Everyone in Yorkshire? That's 2 million people just in leads. So you want to sell to 2 million people. So when you start asking people those questions, they realize, oh my word, I've invested all this money, now I'm desperate to sell this product. But if you start and you say, I've got an idea, I'm good at fashion, let me get 10 dresses, put them out there and see what happens. Trial different prices. Do people actually like these dresses? And how many of these dresses are people willing to buy is another thing, because you could have an idea, but does it actually work? I'll explore this further down in the slides. Then always start with the end in mind. What does that mean? Do you want a big company? Do you want to just run a small company? Are you starting this business to sell it up? So I went to a conference, and an investor there said he started his business knowing he wanted to get to 2 million profitability and sell off the business. So he knew, I'm starting this business to sell it off. So you need to know that. It's very important. You need to know if that's what you're doing. Are you building a legacy business? So are you building something that will remain in your family? You need to know that, so that your family know that and can come along. If you have children, they understand that this is a family business. Someone from the family will need to take it over. You carry them along with you in this business. Because if you don't start with the end in mind, you will keep floundering. You will keep going in circles. You will not have direction. So start with the end in mind.
Wow. Yeah.
So, do you have a business plan? Do we have any business owners in the room? Hands up. Do you have a business plan? Why? You have one? Yes, very good. So, my homework for everyone who's a business owner is to get a business plan together. Now, the business plan will answer all those questions I covered in the previous slide. A business plan will make you think about everything, not just the things I've put out. These are just some of the things it will answer. But when you think about target market, you will break it down. Like, you will break it down to the point where you know how many people you need to sell to in a week to understand that your business is breaking even. That's what a business plan can do for you. You will know how many people you need to sell to. If I'm doing facials for let's say £25, and I know what my survival costs are, and I break that down into a number, if I know who my target audience, I can get to the point where I understand that I need to do 4 facials a week for 46 weeks a year. So I will know I'm on track with my business. But if you don't have a business plan and you have not done that, how will you know your business is working? How will you know you are on track? You will have no way of tracking anything. So it will tell you your product and service for a period of time. So the thing is, I can start with dresses, but I know eventually I want to have a full collection. But for now, in this year, in this next 12 months, we are only doing dresses. And that's what your business plan will address. What are we selling? Why are we not selling all our products yet? When will we introduce these new products or this new service? Then it will also help you do market research. So that is important. If I'm an investor and I come and say, okay, what's your market share? And you can't tell me that, I'm not giving you any money. A bank will not give you any money. So your market research, you have to know, how popular is my niche? What's happening? How is it growing? What are the trends in the market? And you also have to conduct your own market research. So speak to your prospective customers, and your business plan will help you do that. So then once you've done that, you'll develop a marketing and sales strategy, which is very important. What am I actually doing to market my business? What is my marketing strategy for the next month? I'm sending out emails. How often am I sending out these emails? What do they have in them? How do I measure if they're working or not? And then it will tell us things like who our competitors are, which will inform our pricing. And also, what is my unique selling point? So I may be selling dresses, but there may be 10,000 people more doing it. What makes me different from my competitors? What am I leaning on? what are they selling their things for? Because if you don't know what your competitors are doing, how will you know that you are selling things at the right price? How will you know when the market is changing if you don't understand what they're doing? How will you know that people in this industry like this particular type of social media, or they like this particular type of website to engage with? You won't know this information. Then you also need to outline probably the most difficult part, operations and logistics. Are you compliant? What insurance do you have in place? If you're working from home, did you know you need your landlord's permission in this country to work from home? You can't just work from home. You need their permission and get it written. Do you have contracts for suppliers? Who are your suppliers? How many do you have? What are your terms? What are your startup costs? So how much do you need to get you started? So for those who said money, yes, money, but you can't get started with very little. And then you need to know how you're going to use that very little to get started. Then you also have your vision and mission. What is my 5-year plan? What am I doing in 12 months? What am I doing in the next 3 years? What am I doing in 5 years? And then your financial forecast, probably something a lot of people don't think about, which is making educated, calculated guesses about how much you think you are going to make based on your understanding of the industry. So what are my sales assumptions? How much money do I predict I'm going to make? What do I need to survive on? What is my personal survival budget for the year? And then finally, a backup plan. A lot of people will always tell me, my backup plan, I cannot fail. Well, you can predict that. What happens if you decide you are not running the business anymore? You need to know what you're going to do with the assets in the business, what you need to do to close down. Will you sell it? Will you pivot? What will you do? That will be in your business plan. Okay. Then finally, my last slide, more things to consider. As I said at the beginning, start small with what you have where you are, number one. And then how are you going to register your business? So for the United Kingdom, you only have to register as self-employed once you've made £1,000. So before you made £1,000, you don't have to register. But once you've made £1,000, if you are registering as a sole trader, which is free, you have to register with HMRC. If you're registering as a limited company, you register with Companies House, and I think it costs either £39 or £59. There are pros and cons for either way of registering, but those are the two most common ways of registering a business. Then you need to find a community that will support you. Networking will be very important for your business. I'm a testament of that. I got my first client as a coach, a business coach, so I do that on the side from an event. I was just telling him about what I do, and he said, I believe in you, I need your help. And I've been working with this person, somebody, an accountant. I don't know anything about accounting, but I do know about helping people with their confidence and about getting somebody to a place where they can run a good business. That's how I got my first client, from a networking event. There are so many. If you live in Yorkshire, there are so many, or wherever you live, use Eventbrite, find these networking events and go to them. Even if you are not sure you are going to run your business yet, just find them, go to them, learn about what's happening in your industry, and then find a mentor or a coach to help you stay on track. So find somebody who will question you, and you need a no-nonsense person who's not scared of you. You need somebody who will tell you the truth. Somebody will tell you, you didn't do this, I don't think this is going right, where you can be accountable and know that you are on track. And then track everything, finally. Well, legally, you have to, especially if you're buying anything, keep your receipts, please, for 6 years. That's the law. Keep all your receipts and track everything. But that is all my time.
Wow. Wow.
If you have any questions or you're looking for a business coach, I do offer that. Yeah, and to educate most, but yeah. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Yes?
Awesome. Question?
What do you advise, let's say, for someone who is trying to set up something, and take, for instance, a cleaning business,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a job, a full-time job, and you want it to pick up, you want to build kind of reputation for yourself, for the business to grow. So do you advise that the person just leaves the job, focuses on the business, or like for this business to pick, or it's something that I don't know. What would you advise in a situation like that?
My advice would be to first build your client base first. So if is your job Monday to Friday, or is it just on different days?
On different days.
Okay, so my advice would be to first build a loyal client base, because your clients will talk to their friends who need a cleaner. So with the little that you have first, build that client base. When it gets to the point where you have more work, maybe you can reduce your hours if your job allows that, and then slowly work your way into making that full time. But you need to know how much you need to live on. That's the first thing. Can you cover all your bills? If you left your job to do this cleaning business, do you have enough business to cover your survival? So if you can leave your job and you still are making enough money from your cleaning job and you have enough clients, then yes, you can leave your job. But if you don't yet have enough clients, slowly build and then reduce your hours at work. That's what my advice would be. So it just depends on your situation. Do you have enough clients yet? No, don't leave your job. Keep on building that until the point where maybe you're fully subscribed, and then you know that, okay, from what I'm predicting, I have enough to cover my living expenses. Yeah.
Thank
Hello. Yeah, my name is Yusuf. Yeah, you make a point where you said start small is what you have, where you have. Yeah, we are here in the UK right now. So when you're starting up, did you face any challenges, when you're starting up in the UK? So did you face any one, and how did you come out of them? I'm sure probably now you must still be facing one or two in the line of business. So are there what you face when you're starting up and what you face right now, and how are you able to come out of them?
Well, my main one is my coaching is in conflict with the job I do. So I can only take clients that I'm not stealing from the way I work. So I work with young people in my regular job. So I don't work with anyone who could potentially benefit from, let's say, King's Trust support. I work with people outside of that. So people who are over 31 and maybe are not going for the funding option. That's the first thing. Then for the fashion part is time. Like, because my job is so intense, just having the time to do all the tasks that I need to do. So what I do, I have to be organized, maybe utilize my weekends, use annual leave sometimes, just take time off. If I know I have a lot of things to do, then yes. But so far, no. I just also made sure I found an accountant. So he makes sure I'm compliant, makes sure that I pay my tax on time, because let me tell you, HMRC will fine you that money. So I make sure that I found an accountant quickly. Yeah.
Sorry, just to ask. So in terms of the registration process, how do you acquire clients?
How did I acquire market?
You must start.
For which business?
So
how do you expand?
You have.
So you are already in the service business, right? So now, how do you like, how do you like make your business like start
by going to networking events, and then when it's networking time, talking to people, and then they'll be like, I need that service. So pitching myself, having my elevator pitch ready, and saying, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is why you need this. Sometimes without even realizing, and they'll be like, wow, I need you because I'm talking so well about what I do. So then people will just be like, you know what you're talking about, and hire me. Even give them a bit of information, like, do you know your competitors? Like, just a bit. So then they have a bit to chew on, but I'm not going to give you all the information because you need to pay me.
All right, let's put our hands together one more time. I wanted the first question about challenges. I don't know if Dr. Jen can share with you the few challenges you faced when you started yours and how you were able to overcome it, because you're young brown. I can answer that question because I don't know that different.
Challenges vary. I think it just depends on the business that you're doing, and I purposely stayed away from the business angle because it's complicated. But what I will say is one of the biggest challenges I found in my business, particularly in healthcare, was staffing. So it depends on the business you're doing. If you're having a business where you're employing people, that's a significant issue, and you need to make sure you employ people that understand the business, that are there for the business and are trained and specialized. If it's a business where you're providing a service, so you're not necessarily you're doing the work yourself, the challenge is there and you can get burnt out. You've got so much that you have to do, so you definitely need help. Like TV mentioned, having an accountant, you probably need a solicitor, and not just anyone, you need good ones. And that initial capital that you have, you need to invest in good people around you to help you get through those challenges in the beginning. So good lawyer, good accountant, maybe a business coach. You need to invest in them first to overcome the challenges. You can't do it yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. Have you been having a great time already?
Yeah.
Awesome. One of the things I said earlier when I came up after Dr. Jen was that the story is just talking about social capital. And then someone asked, I think a few people said money, and all of that. And my friend is here, came all the way from Maryland. He's going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to ask questions. And both of us are going to have very nice interactive session with you all, talking about a lot of other things beyond money, talk about relationship, talk about how to build social capital, because that story was just about social capital. One of the things I'm going to say when I come to wrap up what everyone has said in my presentation is also about that. It's beyond cliche saying that your network determines your network. It's way beyond that. I can spend 6 months every Saturday talking about just that statement alone. How your network will determine to an extent your net worth. So if you are I was going somewhere. If you have £1,000 need right now, do you have someone in your network that in 30 minutes is going to give it to you? If you have £10,000 challenges, do you have someone in 30 minutes that can provide that for you? If you have £100,000 challenge, do you have someone in your network in 30 minutes that can provide it for you? If you have £1,000,000 challenge, do you have someone in your network that can provide that for you in 30 minutes? Turn to your neighbor, like they say, and say to him or her, There are levels to this thing.
Yeah, no levels to this
I
thing.
can hear you. See, there are levels to this thing.
There are levels to this thing.
Thank you so much, my friends. Come on over there.
Thank you, sir.
Abraham Ibrahim Jr. is a visionary leader and operator renowned for his contributions in technology, innovation, and strategy. Currently serving as the Vice President, Information Technology and Innovation Care DX Incorporated, USA, he has significantly impacted the U.S. transplant industry through his commitment to excellence and groundbreaking initiatives. His leadership has fostered advancements that enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of transplant operations. In addition to his role at Mid-America Transplant, Abraham is the co-founder of GetZing and the managing partner of Janice Inc., an angel and pre-seed venture fund. His proven track record in identifying promising innovations and nurturing creativity has driven substantial growth in each of his ventures. Abraham's academic credentials include degrees from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania and UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business, equipping him with a wealth of knowledge to navigate complex business challenges. With over 14 years of experience, Abraham possesses a deep understanding of systems, processes, design, development, and automation. His expertise has consistently delivered high-quality impacts across various industries globally, leaving a lasting mark on the businesses he engages with. He is also the author of Two Sides of a Coin, reflecting on personal growth. Given the professional achievements, Abraham is passionate about productivity, food security, and improving healthcare systems. In his free time, he enjoys reading, exploring new cuisines, fishing, and playing golf with clients. Ladies and gentlemen, with a warm round of applause, let's welcome to the UK Real Impact Summit, Abraham Ibrahim Jr.
Our temperature is ranging around 70 degrees right now, so
Yeah.
you guys are cold. Dr. Jennifer, thank you. I think it was intentional because as I sit there and I start looking at my notes, I saw that Dr. Jenny laid the foundation.
Yep. Yep.
Timmy laid the next block on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I should just sit down and then let's skip and let's have KJK do his thing and then we all go back. Thank you, KJK. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. So we're about to have some fun. I think we started from step 1, step 2, and I think I'll take it to 3, and then KJK is going to land this. Okay? I'm going to talk about money. Okay, that's good then. Okay. So this is the first time I say I want to talk about money. Everybody's excited. Like, it's like, okay. I always try to start with a joke and all of that, but since you're all excited already, we're going to skip the foul play, right? All right. We can put the first picture up and then we get started. I try to keep the conversation about money very interesting. The other one. So, the first one. The next one, sorry. The one before this. Or the previous one. See, I'm struggling with the way you guys call everything differently than what Americans call it. So when I go to the US a while back, I still remember all the ways we call everything differently. Then I came to the UK and you guys just call everything differently again, and I'm confused. So the picture you see up here was my first attempt at fishing about 2 years ago. No, 22. So myself and a couple of friends, we took a boat. We went to Solomon's Island and then we took a boat. It's in a place in South Carolina in the US. So we took a boat and we went all in on the ocean to fish. My first time. So these are experienced people. So they gave me the line and everything. Put it in, I put the bait in, everybody threw it in, we casted it in, and in less than 5 minutes, I caught that. Right? That's a 30-pound fish. It's important to this story. The second picture that you showed earlier was after another. So what we did was, because the people we went fishing were very comfortable, so we did something called catch and release. And what that is that we catch the fish, we pet it, take pictures with it, and throw it back into the water. Very un-Nigerian of me, okay? Let's start with that. I know, right? It's just right. Imagine that on your plate. So I caught again. After about 10 minutes, we threw that back. I caught this other one. And then for the next 4 hours, I didn't catch any. So like you said, it's called beginner's luck. But what I did was I was running my mouth to the rest of the folks that were fishing together that, you guys have been wasting time. We all say, oh, there's a technique to it, there's this, there's that. Oh, we went to grab oysters and use that as bait. We did all of these things. We guys didn't catch any, but after 2 hours, they started catching more because, the water settled in and they knew exactly what to do. But I was just throw it in. If something shakes, pull it out. That's all I knew at the time. So today, what I'm trying to do today is run a parallel between my fishing experience and money. For a topic today, if you're writing notes, I'll say from managing to thriving, navigating financial wellness in uncertain times. How many of us have checked our bank accounts and we're expecting a different amount? Okay. Like you were expecting £1,000 and you're like, who stole my money? Tax? Yeah. And then you look again. And then you take your bank statement and you're like, someone is stealing my money. Maybe hackers have access to my money. And then you go look and you're like, wow, I'm the hacker. I'm the one spending my own money. Yeah. One of the disadvantages that school and education have done to us is school never teaches us about personal finance management. We go to school to learn, and we graduate from school, and we make high income. But nobody ever sits us down to say, this is how you manage your personal finance. And the challenge with that is a lot of us walk through life with habits that we've built. Say, for example, if we were living in a household where there's a lot of scarcity, right, growing up, you tend to hoard money. If you live in a household where it's abundant and it's available, you end up going through what? Going through life thinking you will always have access to what? Money. Habits. Are we tracking? So in order for us to get money right, we need to fix our what? Money habits. Are we tracking? Most of us have had to learn about money the hard way. through trials and error. We get it this time, we fail the next time. Today, I'm going to share some secrets that I've learned that is working for me, that has worked for me, and also from most of the people, high network individuals I have the opportunity to work with. I see that some of these secrets are also things that they also imbibe on a day-to-day basis. So to make this consistent, I pulled some reports from the UK to tell you about how big of an emergency this is. About 40% of UK adults says that they experience daily anxiety about their finances. Daily. Like Dr. Jenny said, if you're anxious about money, that releases a lot of cortisol, right? And what happens? It leads to heart diseases, and the list can continue. So there's a great parallel between when you have money and the quality of life that you have. 46% of UK workers live paycheck to paycheck with no spare cash for emergencies or unexpected expenses. Wow. Okay? The first statistics. 40% of individuals, this is the one that scares me every time, because in the US we say that when people make over 100,000 they still struggle, right? But when I saw that 40% of individuals in the UK as well, earning over 100,000 pounds or more, find themselves living paycheck to paycheck due to rising costs and inflation. So the problem about money is not, when I make 500,000 pounds, I'm going to be all right. When I make £1 million, I'm going to be all right. The problem, we have to fix the problem before the money comes. So at whichever level you are, we have to treat it at that level, because as you get to the next level, if you don't fix it and have systems that are working for you, when you get to that level, you will experience the same frustration. Are we tracking? We were smiling earlier. Why are we all now? We stop smiling. Come on. What's going on? So I always make a joke at my wife all the time. She'll probably be online any moment from now. I don't love money. Okay? I love the option it brings. Are we tracking? I don't love money, but the options money gives you, there you go. I love it. Yeah. I was complaining to KJK yesterday or 2 days ago. Whenever I got to the UK, I don't know. Yesterday, the flight, and then my wife called my attention and said I sounded like a brat, right? Like a spoiled brat. and I'll tell you the story intentionally, because I tried to be very private and all of this, but I'll tell this story intentionally. So when I was coming, I had the opportunity of flying business class, right? So I was complaining bitterly to KJK that I would never fly BA again. Oh, sorry, I know that's your flagship airline, but I was like, I will not fly BA. Like, the business class is so small, like I wasn't comfortable. I was like, I'd rather go to Lufthansa or some other airlines and, go there. I know I can stretch, I can enjoy myself. But, as we were talking, I was like, yeah, next time I have to do a better job of checking and make sure what kind of aircraft is going to fly, whatever that looks like, I'm still going to fly BA. And I was complaining to my wife, and she was like, I sound like a sports person right now. Then as I think about, the concept of financial wellness, one thing I realize is because I'm able to, I like the option it brings. Like, I can decide that, okay, I'll go to Virgin, I'll give my business to Virgin, because I just want, or Emirates. Are we all tracking? Yeah. settle this together. Before I start sharing some of the secrets and system, the number one path is patience. What I call it?
Patience.
Patience. It won't happen overnight. It will not happen what? Overnight. But every step you take matters. I'll give you another story. I always throw myself under the bus, okay? 2 months ago, I was at the gym, and I was there, lifting this weight, and then this, well, I still have to process that a little bit. So this guy was at the gym, well built, not that I'm jealous, but well built and all of that, and he was lifting, so he saw me lifting my, don't judge me, 25 pounds, I was just doing it, trying to help myself, right? Okay, so this guy saw that I was doing that, then decided to take a 60-pound weight and was showing off, right? And then, so I still have a lot to process, okay? So Abraham being the competitive guy and I grabbed 30 pounds and I was like, you can't, I can. Then I was going, this guy, I wish I know his name. He pulled another one, so he had two, and was, then I was like, oh, really? Man, you feel what I'm saying, right? You see a fellow man, you're like, okay, yeah, I can do it. So I picked both of them, right? So I picked another 35, and I picked another 35, and I was going, and at some point, then he saw, and then he was like, then I was like, okay, I was going, then at some point, my knees were reminding me that I'm not as young as I used to be. So, out of shame, I just put it back and I just left the gym, okay? Unfortunately for me, the next day, that was a Saturday, the next Sunday I had a presentation somewhere. This is how I was working. But the interesting thing about the story is that's how a lot of us live our financial life. You see, oh, Abraham he flies private. Oh, he flies business class. I want to fly business class. Oh, Abraham is wearing a nice suit, $1,000, it's a £1,000 suit. I want to do it. Or let's make it real, Nigerians, right? Oh, I'm their party. The Ashrabi is £400. Are we tracking? I've been invited to events where they have Ashrabi, and it's not for the lack of that I can't afford the Ashrabi, but I just said no, because it just doesn't make sense. I'd rather give you the check, maybe not show up at the event, but I made it a very personal decision about 6 years ago. Are we tracking? For my mental health and my financial well-being, I pulled away from Nigerians. Are we tracking? You know why? Unconsciously, they were pressuring me. Are we tracking? I'm not saying pull away from Nigerians. Dr. Jenny mentioned, have a what? Strategy. At the time, that was my what? My strategy. Figure out a what? A strategy. The number one thing we have to deal with is what? Patience. Every small step matters. Number two, techniques. Consistent efforts. Consistent efforts. Number three, adaptability. Adaptability. Just like fishing or any of these other things, adaptability is key. I remember when we went fishing, there was a time we were using worms as our bait. That wasn't getting the type of fish we wanted. We went to oysters next. So there you have to be adaptable to the ever-evolving landscape that you find yourself. Are we tracking? We all agree that a high salary won't save you. Are we tracking? So the problem that we have is not a money problem. It's a mindset problem. One of the things that I want to encourage you, number one, is avoid lifestyle creep. Do we all know the concept of lifestyle creep? As our income increases, our lifestyle also what? Increases. Because you can actually pay for it, doesn't mean you can afford it. Are we tracking? Because you can pay for it, doesn't mean you can what? Afford it. I'll give you an example. You go get a brand new car. The car costs £1,000 every month, right? From your salary, you're making £4,000 every month, right? Can you pay for it monthly? Yes. But can you afford it? When the car breaks down, can you afford it? If you lose your job, can you afford it? Are we tracking? A lot of us don't like talking about, all the negative that can happen, but it's not a matter of if it happens, it's about when it happens. So you have to be prepared for when it happens. Live below your means. Live below your means. So we talked about what is the minimum you need for survival. Sit down and decide every month, what are the things that I need to survive? 1, food, shelter, everything else. We can figure it out. Are we tracking? If you work and your job requires you going online, are we tracking? That is a need for you. But if you have no business going online and you're trying to survive, move from surviving to thriving, it's time for you to cut off, your phone bill. I'll give you an example. I was talking to my wife 2 weeks ago. I said, no, about a month ago. This was in March. And I said, yeah, I'm considering the thought. So I have 2 devices, 2 phones that I use all the time. One for my personal, and one is my emergency phone. That if that number don't ring, but if it does ring, then so people that know me know you might call me on my main number and try to reach me. After time, I don't pick, not because of anything, but because maybe sometimes it's in silence or something. So I was telling her, I was like, I'm questioning the rationale behind that. That why am I paying this extra $50 for that phone, right? That in a year probably rings like twice. So $50 multiplied by 12, right? That's $600 that I'm paying for what? So I started questioning it. So you need to be able to sit down and question every expense that you're making from the lens of what needs and what wants. A lot of us have justified our wants to the extent that we put it at the same level as our what? As our needs. Number 2 secret. Savings alone won't make you rich. Savings alone won't make you rich. Put your money to work. That's all. Invest in short-term investments, long-term money markets, investments, stocks, REITs. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of micro investments available out there. That is not an investment. I'll tell you a story about that. I had a friend that reached out to me and said, and it's a great point you brought up. When CBEX it was like, oh, this, and all these things. And I was like, as a rule for Abraham and all my clients, I do not invest in what I don't understand. Are we tracking? I do not invest in what I don't understand. One of the things, or the best thing you can do for yourself is never put your money in something you don't understand. CBEX is one that I don't understand. Number 3, not all debt is bad, but most people are using it wrong. Debt is not bad. Are we tracking? I'll give you an example. I preach heavily about no credit card, okay? KJK knows no debts and all that. But I do have a credit card, okay? And the credit limit on that credit card is $75,000, okay? And they also offer travel points, okay? So when I have big purchases in my house above $500, that's the card I use because I know I have the money to pay off immediately, right? So instead of using my debits, I use my credit card, right? And then pay it immediately and get all the points and rewards that allows me to only book a business class ticket for just $2,000. Are we tracking? Are we tracking? Okay. So there's a difference between good and bad debts. A car is not an investment. Okay? I love German cars. Let's start with that. Okay? I have my eyes on the Porsche. Ooh. But I did tell Tiffany that when I'm 40, spoil myself small. Are we tracking? A car is not a what? An investment. Are you in debt and you want to get out of debt? I'll give you 2 quick tips. Use a debt snowball. What is a debt snowball? The debt snowball is you pay your highest debt, your debt with the most interest rates, right? Are we tracking? You start from there. Then you go to the one with low balances, you start from there. Now, this differs from person to person. I'll give you an example. Some people, they get some sense of fulfillment, right, from winning, incremental winning, right? So if you're that type of person, my recommendation to you would be pay the one with the smallest balance. Are you tracking? Because when your mindset is, I have 10 credit card debts. Are you tracking? But if you pay 1 out of 10, what that does for you is it makes you feel like I'm making progress. But if I say go start with the one that has the highest or lowest interest, and that's the one that you have maybe 20,000 pounds on, right? And it's difficult to chop through that. You might see all the work and effort you're putting in place as, I can't see it. You see where I'm going? So my recommendation is based off of your personality, decide what works best for you. Are we on track? Okay, I need to speed up now. Budgeting. A lot of people don't like the B word. So budget. Budget is great. System is greater. When you write your budget, I live and sleep budgets. Yeah. Because I work too hard for my money not to know where it's going. Are we tracking? So every dollar, every pound I spend, I know exactly where it's going. Because I decided to what? To spend it. A lot of people talk about black tax. Are we tracking? It's in my budget. I have a what? A given budget item. That at the end of the month, if I've given and helped people to that threshold, sorry, we'll join the line till next month. I have a blow money item in my budget that what I use this blow money for is whatever I like to do. So if I decide that a belt worth £1,000 or $1,000 is what I want to spend my blow money on, I'm satisfied and I don't feel guilty about it. If I think it's a designer shoe that's X amount, I feel satisfied and I don't feel what? Bad about it. Are we tracking? Budgets. Write down everything that you spend. Start from your needs, your utilities, food, shelter. As you decide what is important to you, the reason I said you start with what? Food, shelter. Everything else is somebody that has food in the stomach and has one place to sleep that can think about everything else. Are we tracking? So when it comes to budgeting, so the first layer is budgets. Once you're comfortable with how your budgeting works, the next is what? Building systems. Okay? Building what? Systems. And what the system does for you is that it helps you process and helps you achieve things faster in your financial journey. Budgeting. There's some myths about budgeting. You know, a lot of people say, oh, budgeting is too restrictive, right? It restricts you. That's not true. That's not true. You work too hard. You're the one telling your money where it goes, rather than your money telling you where it wants to go. Yeah. Because if you don't budget it, you will still spend that money. And then you figure out, where did this money go? Are we tracking? It's quiet in this room. As I begin to wrap up, while budgeting, follow the 50-30-20 rule. 50% your needs, 30% your investing and savings, 20% your wants. Emergency funds. In your budget as well, put together a category called emergency funds. And what does this mean? So that the next time your car breaks down or something happens, you have a place you can go pull from instead of you going to your savings. Are we tracking? And we can get creative. Maybe during the question, if you have questions, bring it on. We're going to try as much as possible to answer all the questions. The goal is to have a 3 to 6 months of living expense. Wow. Are we tracking? Can I motivate you? I had a professor, Toby. He's also a venture capital. And then the way Toby writes checks to startups is always very mind-blowing for me, because I'm like, someone just pitched an idea that I would not touch at all. And he's like, oh yeah, take 50,000, go build it. When you build the technology, come and talk to me. In my head, I'm like, bro. Then he told me he has 20 years of living expense. I was like, oh, now it makes sense. Wow. So my goal is to have 20 years so I can be like him, right? 2 out of 20, 18 to go, right? Small steps. Are we tracking? TV says something. If you want to start your business, you need to know. You do the maths. Yeah. How much do you need? Someone had a great question. I love KJK's feedback, comments. I love TV's comments, and I love your comments about that as well, which is, how do I know when to jump in all in into my business? Well, when you have a full-time job, right, and you know you have it all sorted out, right, and you know that, okay, you've done the planning well, you know that, okay, right now I have 2 clients and I'm only dedicating 4 hours every week. If I know in my heart of hearts, like Dr. Jenny, you don't know yourself. If you know yourself that, okay, if I dedicate 20 hours, are we tracking? I can multiply that by what? By 10 or by 20, whatever that looks like. That is also another indicator. Adding to what you just shared, that you know, okay, now it's time to jump into the ocean. Please don't jump blindly. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. We have the scars to show it. For your emergency fund, that's very simple. £1,000, even £500. Just keep it somewhere. Yeah. When I started out, you know how I started? I open an account, I do not have access to the card. I open an account that takes 3 to 5 days for transfer to go from that account to my personal account. You know why? So it's difficult for me to go to that account and do what? And pull funds out. Are we tracking? Financial freedom has a formula. We all have a financial freedom number. There's a principle in financial management called the 4% rule. If you want to find out your financial freedom number, all you have to do is you multiply your annual expenses by 25. Whatever answer you get, that's how much you need to retire. So if you do the maths, let's say for example, you spend £50,000, £30,000 every year. Are we tracking? Multiply that by 25. If you have that number today, you're ready to retire. So once you do that math, the mission for financial freedom, it becomes different. It becomes personal. So if your goal is to become free, at that point, it's personal because you have the high on what? On the goal. Your number might be £500,000. Your number might be £2 million. Your number might be £10 million. You have your highs on the what? On the goal. Lastly, do not put all of your eggs in one basket. Diversification is wisdom. Are we tracking? Diversification is what? Is wisdom. Uncertainty is inevitable. It's not a matter of what? It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of what? When. The stock market will crash or has crashed. Will continue to crash or is still crashing and everything in between. Start aside also. Invest. Do something that makes you money on the daily because you spend money on the what? On the daily. I was at a gathering yesterday and I was telling them, I want to start making money in pounds now. No, for you. I was like, what do I need to do to start making money in pounds? Because if I want to start making my visits to the UK very often, I don't think it's smart for me, you know, changing dollars to pounds, because I just realized that our dollar is kitty, our money is useless. It's useless. I gave them £2,000 at the, no, $2,000 at the Euro exchange. And said, oh yeah, you get 700 and something. I was like, no, yeah. No, sorry, 1,005 and I got 680 something dollars. Yeah, it's 1.4. That's the ratio. I've been scammed. Oh, it's a business place. Is there another place I should go? Yes. So I think the but still like that anyways. Yeah. Do something that makes you money on the daily. Diversify your income. The philosophy that a lot of us have actually imbibed is get all you can all you get, and sit on the can. Diversify. Yeah. When the stock market crashed recently, I made 15%. Are we tracking? In 3 days. Are we tracking? The only reason I could do that was because I was prepared for the emergency that happened. And I was able to do what? Go all in. Are we tracking? Shift your mindset from consumerism to stewardship. Every time you want to make a purchase, ask yourself, can I afford this? When you start thinking about the lifetime cost of an item, are we tracking? You will decide that really you can't afford it. Because the car is £50,000 today, the lifetime cost of that car over 4 years is way more than that. I'll give you an example. I was speaking to a client and he's like, oh, I walk and I drive for 100 miles every day. Then my comment is, why haven't you bought an electric car? And he's like, oh, I can't afford a Tesla. Well, a Tesla is not the only electric car available. There's a Nissan Leaf that's going to cost you a fraction of what the Tesla costs. You're making fun of Nissan, they're an amazing car, portable. But it's just an example that if you recognize a problem and you're willing to do what? To do something about it. When you start shifting your mindset, you start thinking about how can I use my money to make the world a better place. We all have a vision of how we see the world. But once you start, if you don't take control now, you can't shape the future of what you see. Forward cycle, and I drop this mic. 1, earn wisely, grow your wealth, give generously, and watch what you have multiply. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just to ask it out one more time. My friend and girl, I've always sitting on the edge as you saw it whenever he's talking about money, because it's not one who talks about money. It's one who understands how money works. Understands how money works. Don't even dare judge him by how he looks. So when I was talking about there are levels, right, to these things, I'm talking from a place of understanding. Are we together, guys? Please let's concentrate. Let's be focused here. Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll take questions in a bit. I heard we have refreshments, so we'll probably grab our refreshment and then just come back and sit down because of time. But before we do that, we need to understand that money doesn't have a sex.
No.
Right? Money is neither male or female. It's amoral. Right? Money flows. And that's why it's called currency. Money flows. So you are the one that will determine how, like he said, and where your money goes. I'm learning a lot about money from him, and I'm getting better at it. And the first thing, and I want everyone to, I'm just trying to review some of the things he said. The first thing that I want everyone under the sound of my voice to be cautious about, to be very cautious about, is where your money is going. Where your money is going. And that was the last thing, all of the things he said. Track your money. Track your money. One of the things I learned practically from him. Track your money, guys. I want to emphasize that. Track your money. During the interactive session, I wanted to talk a little bit about budgeting and how it can help you. Track your money. I know you want to look good. Look good, but track your money. I know you want to smell nice. Smell nice, but track your money. You have bills to pay. Some of us are here struggling and how we're going to pay some bills. with academic bills and all of that. When we come for the interactive session, I want us to look at that practically. If possible, go offline so we can deal with some of these things. How you can practically clear off your bills. But you have a major role to play. You have a major role to play. Are we together? All case major. You might have to cut down on some lifestyle. Intentionally. Who is that victim different? You have to intentionally cut down. If you're eating out, you probably want to start cooking because it's cheaper. Oh, I'm always tired, so it's better for me. Come on now. Come on, guys. Wake up early, make that meal, freeze it. I don't eat frozen food that are frozen after today. Hey, hello. Smell the coffee. All right, I'll be back. I just said that to lay the foundation about some of the things we want to talk about during the interactive session. We look at everything. Build social capital, build relationship quotients. I know you have IQ, intelligence quotient. There are other ones that are hardly talked about. And one of those is relationship quotient. I tell people confidently that there's nowhere, as a Nigerian, there's no country, and there's no state in my country that I will go and be stranded. Number one. Number two, I'm at that point where there is no continent in the world, no country in the world that I go in there with just $1 and I will still be stranded. If I came into the UK yesterday with $1, I can't be stranded. I'll probably leave with some more money. How do you do that? Live aware. Are we together? Live conscious. Live in the now. Like, know that I am at St. George's and be at St. George's. Don't be at St. George's and at the same time be in your kitchen. You know you can do that. You can be in 10 places right now. Mm-hmm. That's the error of our time. All right. I'm talking too much already. Please serve the meals. Let's get. Are we going to go get ourselves, or are you ready for us now? Awesome. Once again, let's appreciate all our speakers. Timmy, Dr. Jennifer, welcome Mr. Here. Thank you so much. Just let me know when you guys are ready. Oh, awesome. All right. I guess we're going to have some music play, and then we'll just grab your snack and come sit down. Grab your tea, just come sit down. And then we go straight into the next item. While you're in it, I'll be glad to start speaking while we do that. Just to save some time. Thank you so much, guys. So you're just practicing, tagging up the music.
Hi, I'm Isha. I work at the Trust currently, and I just wanted to say that this event has been incredibly inspiring. And I do recommend it to anybody who would be wondering if they should attend or not. It is a pleasure being here and being surrounded by people who are so inspiring. That was also incredibly great. Thank you for having me.
Not what people, let's have oh, they're going to break it. Oh, this is one cool thing. It's difficult. There's 17 seconds. It's like 18 there. I hate you. I don't think that's the one that made the screen. So what's up? So someone made it was I need to yesterday. I need to tell you. You had work to do right today, professionally. Yeah, that's right. Good to see you again. Yeah, you know what today? I just come back now. You know, last year, that's too long to get that, okay? What's your name? Oh, I have to tell you. Yeah. I mean, that's the chief. I just feel we will. So, we're going to this I'm not getting it from this guy. From who? I think it's off now. For the video. Yeah, me too. Listen to that.